Let's get right into it. Number 10. The basement rocket. Your water heater is basically a giant pressure cooker. It's constantly heating water in a sealed metal container, and just like a pressure cooker, if that pressure has nowhere to go, things can get explosive. When water heaters explode, they don't just leak a little water. These things literally blast through roofs like rockets. One documented case in Washington state sent a water heater through 2 floors, then the roof. It landed 300 feet away, the length of a football field. Think about the force needed to launch a 300-pound metal tank that far. It's like having a space shuttle launch pad in your basement, minus the NASA safety protocols. After enough deadly accidents, someone invented the pressure relief valve. It's like giving your water heater a safety whistle. When things get too hot or too pressurized, it lets off steam. Today, every water heater has one of these valves. It's that little brass thing with a lever on the side of your water heater. But people still die from water heater explosions because they see their relief valve leaking and think they should cap it off. That's like seeing your car's check engine light and solving it by putting tape over it. Number 9. The Guillotine Garage. Imagine you're a kid in the 1980s playing hide and seek. You spot the perfect hiding spot under that partially open garage door, but as you crawl under, something goes wrong. The door starts closing, and there's no safety mechanism to stop it. This isn't just a scary story. 85 children died or suffered permanent brain damage from garage door accidents between the 1970s and 1990s. That's more than from defective cribs in the same period. The manufacturers knew this was happening. They just figured a few accidents weren't worth redesigning their products. In 1990, the government finally made auto-reverse sensors mandatory on all new garage doors. The technology to prevent this had existed for years. It just wasn't being used because it would add about $40 to the cost of each garage door opener. The manufacturers had decided your kid's life was worth less than the price of 2 large pizzas. These sensors shoot an invisible beam across your garage opening. If anything breaks that beam, a kid, a pet, or even just your garbage can, the door stops and reverses. Number 8. Flaming pajamas. Those cozy PJs you're wearing to bed exist because kids died in fires. Back in the 1940s and 1950s, children's pajamas were basically fancy kindling. They were made from light, fluffy cotton that would catch fire faster than paper. All it took was walking past a heater or getting too close to a fireplace, and those cute PJs became a fiery nightmare. The first solution was to treat pajamas with chemicals called flame retardants. These chemicals were supposed to save kids from fires, but they turned out to be toxic. One chemical they used, called tris, was later found to cause cancer. Parents had to choose between their kids potentially catching fire or slowly being poisoned by their PJs. Eventually, designers figured out a better solution: make pajamas fit snugly. Tight-fitting clothes are naturally more fire-resistant because there's less oxygen between the fabric and skin. That's why kids' pajamas are always so tight. Loose, flowy pajamas were literally getting children killed. Number 7. The head snapper. Imagine you're in a race car going 200 miles per hour. You crash. Your car hits the wall. But that's not what kills you. What kills you is your own head, snapping forward like a rubber band. When a car crashes at high speed, everything stops except the driver's head. Your body is strapped in tight, but your head keeps going forward. The force is so strong that it literally tears your skull from your spine. This is what happened to Dale Earnhardt Sr. in 2001. His car hit the wall at 160 miles per hour. His head whipped forward so violently that it broke his skull at the base. He was dead before his car stopped moving. We already had a solution called the Hans device. It had been around since the 1980s. Drivers just refused to wear it. They said it was uncomfortable and restricted their movement. The Hans device is a U-shaped piece of carbon fiber that sits on your shoulders, with 2 tethers connecting it to your helmet. When you crash, these tethers keep your head from snapping forward. In testing, it reduced the forces on the neck by 80%. 3 NASCAR drivers died from the exact same injury in 2000, but it took losing Dale Earnhardt, the sport's biggest star, for NASCAR to make it mandatory. Today, no professional driver would even think about getting in a car without one. Number 6. Corn quicksand. These innocent-looking grain silos are actually one of the deadliest places on a farm. Grain bins have this nasty habit of turning into quicksand. One minute you're walking on what seems like solid ground, the next you're being pulled under. Imagine being buried alive, but instead of dirt, it's thousands of tiny corn kernels. Each time you breathe in, the grain settles tighter around your chest. Each breath gets smaller than the last. It's like being squeezed by a giant python made of corn. In just 20 seconds, you can be trapped up to your waist. In under a minute, you're completely buried. Back in the day, farmers would just climb in when they needed to check the grain. No safety equipment, no backup plan, and people died. A lot. Today, every grain bin entry system looks like something from a mountain climbing expedition. You've got harnesses, lifelines, and observers required by law. There are even special rescue tubes that get pushed down around someone who's trapped, keeping more grain from crushing them. We only have these safety systems because hundreds of people had to die first. Number 5. The forgotten sponge. Imagine waking up from surgery feeling fine, but months later, you start getting weird pains in your stomach. Doctors can't figure out what's wrong until an X-ray reveals a surgical sponge growing inside you. This happened to thousands of patients. Surgeons would stuff cotton sponges into patients during surgery to soak up blood. Sometimes doctors would lose count or miss one during the final check. These forgotten sponges would cause infections, intense pain, and sometimes even death. One patient in Texas had a sponge left inside her for 5 years. It had grown to the size of a basketball, wrapped around her intestines. After several high-profile deaths, someone came up with a simple solution. They wove a special thread into the sponges that shows up on X-rays. Now, before closing up a patient, doctors can take a quick X-ray to check for any sponges left behind. Even with these special threads, about 4,500 to 6,000 cases of retained surgical items happen every year in America. But now, doctors can usually find these forgotten items before they turn deadly. Number 4. The cord of death. Those cords hanging from your window blinds have caused more deaths than shark attacks. Back in the day, window blinds came with long, looping cords that dangled like tiny nooses. Between 1990 and 2015, at least 290 kids lost their lives to these innocent-looking cords. These accidents happen silently. No screams, no noise, just a quiet tragedy that takes about 15 seconds to unfold. One mom found her toddler tangled in the cords while she was in the kitchen for just 5 minutes. Another kid got caught while playing peekaboo with his sister. By the time anyone noticed, it was too late. The window blind industry fought back against safety regulations, arguing that changing the design would be too expensive. It took decades of parents fighting, lawsuits, and public outrage before anything changed. In 2018, new regulations forced manufacturers to either go cordless or hide the cords where kids can't reach them. Now most new blinds are either cordless or have short, separate cords that can't form loops, but millions of old blinds are still out there in windows across the country. Number 3. The revolving death trap. The revolving door safety feature exists because of one of the deadliest nightclub fires in history. Back in 1942, the Coconut Grove nightclub in Boston was packed way over capacity. Someone lit a match to change a light bulb, and within minutes the whole place was on fire. The club had a single revolving door at the main entrance. As people rushed to escape, they all crammed into it at once. The more people pushed, the harder it became to turn the door. The door jammed completely, trapping hundreds of people inside. 492 people didn't make it out that night. After this tragedy, engineers completely redesigned revolving doors. They added a breakout feature. If there's too much pressure on the doors, like during a panic, the panels automatically collapse outward, creating a wide-open exit. These collapsible doors saved lives during 9/11. When the Twin Towers were hit, thousands of people evacuated through the ground floor revolving doors. The doors collapse feature worked exactly as designed, allowing crowds to rush out quickly. Number 2. Reese's Law. Back in the day, battery compartments just clicked open with your thumb, but between 2010 and 2020, over 27 children died from swallowing button batteries. These aren't your regular batteries. When a button battery gets stuck in the throat, it creates an electrical current that burns through tissue. It happens fast, causing severe internal burns in just 2 hours. One victim was a little girl named Reese. She was just 18 months old when she swallowed a button battery from a remote control. Her parents didn't know she had swallowed it until it was too late. Reese's story led to Reese's Law in 2022, forcing manufacturers to make these batteries impossible for kids to access. That's why we now have those tiny Phillips head screws on everything. Some companies fought these regulations, claiming it would make their products less user-friendly. So those frustrating screws you struggle with exist because someone's child didn't make it home. Number 1. Cameron's Law. In 2002, Dr. Greg Goldbranson was parking his SUV in his driveway when he accidentally backed over his 2-year-old son, Cameron. SUVs have a massive blind spot behind them, so big you could hide an entire playground back there. Dr. Goldbranson wasn't a careless driver. He was a pediatrician, someone who spent his life protecting kids, but that blind spot didn't care. After losing Cameron, Dr. Gulbranson turned his pain into a 15-year mission. He fought to make backup cameras required in all new vehicles. The auto industry complained about the cost, about $40 per vehicle, but Dr. Gulbranson kept fighting until Congress finally listened. In 2018, backup cameras became mandatory in all new vehicles under 10,000 pounds. Before backup cameras, about 210 people died every year from backover accidents. Nearly a third of them were kids under 5. Today, that number has dropped dramatically. Every time you use that backup camera, you're looking through Cameron's eyes. That camera isn't just showing you what's behind your car. It's showing you how one father's loss changed the way we drive forever. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.